G'day everyone. How you going? Are you all too scared to use your microphones?
Hello.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Yeah, I probably won't look at the chat while I'm working. So yeah, if you do have a question, just whack your microphone on and ask, and I'll do my best to give you an answer. Doesn't always go to plan as we do things live, but you know, see how we go. And I might just wait a few more minutes to see if anyone else pops up.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't think we're going to be like, oh no, this is all going wrong.
You guys are very friendly.
Yeah.
So maybe just a couple of minutes, I'll go get a glass of water and I'll get started.
Hey Simon, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
You got to press the microphone button, Simon.
Oh, gotcha.
Hey, thanks for joining me in Teams. As I said, I just want to do a run through of compiling your website. Hopefully it's useful. I really wanted you to get a sense of kind of how easy it is, or you know, that it shouldn't be too much of a stress. So what I'm going to do is show you an example finished sort of website. Look at we'll look at the components of that, and then I've got an example CodePen that I'm going to download and build a linked website out of. It shouldn't take too long, maybe about 20 minutes, I reckon. All right, so can everyone see my screen? Am I good to go?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got questions, just turn your mic on and ask them, because it's a bit hard to get to the text thread at the same time. If you need me to stop and go back over something, please do. Let's have a look at, this is Naomi's website. Okay, so finished submitted project, and the website component comes in the form of this this folder with a bunch of finished files in it. Actually, inside there is her presentation. Take that out. It's not supposed to be in that folder. And you can see inside that folder, she's got one index file, which is her home page, and then a series of other pages that link off from that that home page that's called index.html. Our home page is always called index.html because that's the file that a browser will open if it looks inside a folder. So if you direct a browser to this particular folder, it will automatically go to index.html and open that up. So make sure our home page is called index.html. And then Naomi, in her website and her kind of wireframing and site mapping, established that she was going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other pages that linked from her index. That's eventuated in 5 or 6 actual HTML files. Along with that, she's got one CSS file and also a JavaScript file. So all of her styles, all of her style rules that she's written are kept together in that one CSS file, and all of the HTML files link to that, and draw all of their style rules from that one kind of central repository. And the reason we do that is because although this is quite a simple site, you imagine a big company or a big organization has much more complicated structures of linked pages, and you want to be able to go to one place to change the heading style across the whole website, rather than a whole lot of different separate spots. And that's what we have. Linked CSS file. So that's what we want to end up with and submit. And you'll see if I double click on the index file, it'll load up the website in a browser. You can see Naomi's project there. And she's implemented this sort of fly down menu, which is one of the menus, which is the menu that I suggested earlier on today. We might actually look at putting that together in this demo. But if we go to the About page, you can see that the browser has opened up the About file, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense to you? Now I've opened up the store.html. So we're linking between each of those HTML files, and you can actually see this is a URL. It's on my computer, and this is my username. It's on my desktop. It's in this folder called Naomi, and we're looking at this particular HTML file. All right, let's try and create a little ecosystem like that ourselves. And very quickly, forgot to log into my. This is the example I'm after. So I'm going to use this. This is a bit of student work, and we'll use this as an example. So I don't know where everyone's up to. I have seen some work from various members of the group that are here today in different kind of stages of completion of the first page. It doesn't matter where you're up to, but it would be good to start to look towards finishing off your first page so that you could move on and do some of this, this upcoming stuff over the next couple of weeks to get your site finished. So we're really aiming to get that first page completed and ready to go, because we'll use that as a template for the rest of the pages. So just have a quick look at what Andrew built here. It's a pretty simple design, but it's nice and clean and functional. So that's good. And also he sort of didn't make it too hard for himself in terms of he was thinking about the final code component. So he's kind of made it pretty simple for himself, so he didn't trip up later on. So he's got a header, a content area, and a footer pretty much with his site, and he hasn't even included a media query because kind of works okay from this mobile view to this desktop view. So that was kind of a pretty smart thing to do, I reckon. And let's have a look at the HTML. Got a top section which pretty much encompasses the header, but you can see that when we stretch out above, I don't know, maybe it's 1,000 pixels, the header is kind of contained in that page top that kind of stretches from edge to edge. And then underneath that, he's put this page content div, and that's this whole section here. And if I grab a look at a page content, I'll put a little border in here. This is something that I do quite often when I'm troubleshooting. Just put a little border around objects. I actually sometimes put it into this style rule here so that I can see the kind of extremities of all of the elements that I've got on the page, which is actually quite helpful sometimes. But anyway, going back to this page content area, just wanted to isolate that. Pretty much from page to page, this is the area that is going to change on this website. There's a consistency, a kind of a global header and a global footer across all of the pages. So the HTML and CSS for the top and bottom section will remain consistent. It's just the stuff that's inside this content area. What's going on there? Oops, sorry. This content area is going to change from page to page. So on the home page, we're going to have this welcome content. On the About Us page, we're going to have a heading that is About Us and some different, maybe a different picture and some other different layout elements. On the shop page, we're going to have a shop, but it's all going to happen in this section here. And this content and this content will remain the same across all of the HTML pages. So we're making a template. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah, there's only a few of us here, so don't feel shy about turning your mic on. All right. So given that this is going to be a template, I reckon it's a good idea to work out some of the links in advance, so everyone knows the pages that they're going to build out for their website. It's likely to be a home page, an About Us page, frequently asked questions, a shop, some other pages. We know what they are, so we can start thinking about what those file names are going to be for each of those particular pages. So if I look in Naomi's example, she's got about.html, contact, events, so on and so forth. So even though we haven't built those pages at the moment, we can envisage in the future we're going to be linking to those. So it will be helpful for us to add those links in from the outset. And if I just have a look through Andrew's work, up in his header, he's got a link there on the logo that is going to be a homepage link. So I'm going to add in a URL that's going to link directly to the homepage. So if I'm on any other page, I can hit that logo and come back to the homepage, which is a standard kind of thing that happens on web pages. It does have a link over here on that menu, but I'll come back to that and look at some of the other links on the page. Down here, there's a button, this view shop, and I'm going to give my shop page the file name shop HTML. And right in the footer, it's got a privacy policy link. So I might add in here a link to the privacy.html page. All right, so we haven't made those pages yet, but when we do, those links will be ready to go. They'll be live. All right, I'll just take out that border. Okay, let's think about this element here. It's a menu icon. When you click it, the menu will kind of slide in or fade in or something like that. And I'm thinking that we're going to get that from W3 Schools. That's the first link that comes up. I think that's the postman knocking at the front door. Okay, so this is W3 Schools. There's lots of stuff here. You can see all these examples on the left. Plenty of interesting features and stuff to dig out of here. We're going to use this slide in menu, and this is how it works. You click on that menu, click on the button, the menu slides in, and so forth. So we've got some HTML, we've got some pretty complicated CSS, we've also got some JavaScript. But let me show you how easy it is to kind of copy and paste this into our project. I'm going to take the HTML, and I'm going to pop that right at the top of my HTML up here. You'll see it's going to make things look kind of weird over on my preview there. That's the menu implemented. I'm going to make some changes to this stuff here because I want to have a homepage link, which is going to be linked to index.html. I want to have an about page, which will be linked to about again. Shop page. I'll link that to shop.html. And a contact page. I think one more. Another one in for that privacy that's down the bottom. Okay, still looking weird, but we're going to go back and grab the HTML here. So it's quite a bit of HTML. Don't worry too much about it at this stage, but it is pretty configurable. Like you can change the background color and the font and so forth. I'm going to go to my CSS and go right down the bottom and just make sure that I keep it kind of separate, and I know that anything below here is for that menu, and I don't kind of muddle it up with my own stuff. So I'll keep that kind of separate. You can see that it's implemented some of those styles. It's kind of hidden the menus, etc., or those links, etc. Last thing I'm going to do is going to grab this JavaScript. We won't we won't consider that too much at all. We'll just paste it directly into that JavaScript panel. And then once it's loaded and I click on that button, you can see that, you know, there's my menu ready to go. And also, you know, those links are already in place. So if I click on this home button here, it's going to try and open an index.html file, which we don't have at the moment, but it's ready to go. Now, the last thing I'll do is just fix up this little weird bit here. And if I find that, that's the little weird bit here. Inside this span tag, there's a little bit of a JavaScript trigger. And I'm going to take that JavaScript trigger and I'm going to put it on my own button here. It's going to be this link. Now, don't worry if this is not making 100% sense at the moment. I can help you implement this in your piece more specifically. So if I take that out, that open should disappear. And now if I click on this button, I've got my menu. So ready to go. And I think that's pretty much kind of, you know, ties off that home page and finishes off that template for myself. So I'll just fork that, make a duplicate of it, and then I'm going to export it as a zip down to my desktop. Now, just a couple of things about the way Andrew set this up. I think he's done it in a good way. He hasn't included any head tag metadata up in his HTML. He's included it in the settings. So his fonts are linked in the settings, and he's also inserted the most common viewport meta tag, which is a good idea. Anyway, let me have a look at that folder that we've downloaded. I'll pop it onto the desktop, open it up, and I'll grab out the files that we'll need. Just discard the stuff that we don't need. So this is the folder that we need, this dist folder. So I'll pull that out and everything else can get trashed. I'll just hide that. So now we've got, I might change the name of it to whatever. Now we've got something that's starting to look like that finished website that we were checking out before. An index file, a JavaScript file, and a CSS file. So basically what we need to do now is duplicate that index file, use it as a template, and add different content to that new page. Let's open it up and have a look at it first. I'm going to go to Visual Code Studio. And in Visual Code Studio, I'm going to navigate to this folder, which is on the desktop. Where is, oops, sorry, got to be in Visual Code Studio. Go to my desktop, open my site, and I won't go into that, I'll just open that folder. You'll see up on the left-hand side here, it gives me a bit of a navigation to each of those files. You can see it sort of replicating that file structure there. So if I click on index, it'll show me all my HTML code. It's nice and organized. It's actually in Visual Code Studio, got these kind of nice visuals that you can see where you know, tags open and close, which is helpful. It's a bit untidy. And if I go down here, I can see that section where I want to change or swap out different content. If I go up to the top, you can see that CodePen has injected my doc type, my HTML tag, and my head into this HTML file, which is helpful, and then it's closed it off down the bottom. So that's kind of smart of CodePen and helpful of CodePen. You can see also that it's linking to my fonts and what else is it doing? It's also linking to my style sheet. So in this little link here, it is pulling in the styles from this style.css, which is helpful. So that's how the HTML file and the CSS file are linked together. All right, so what we pretty much need to do now, well, firstly, let's open up another browser window. We need to open our files twice. So I'll just drop index.html into that browser, and you can see that that's how it renders in the browser. So on the left-hand side, I've got my code. On the right-hand side, I've got my rendering in a browser. And if I make a change to this HTML over here, I'll go up and I'll save all. And then over in my browser, I'll refresh that. And you should see that that's updated. So when you're viewing your stuff in Visual Code Studio, there's kind of two-step process of saving and then updating in a browser. All right, let's use index as a template and build another page. So I'm just going to duplicate it there and change the file name to one of the pages that we talked about before, and that's going to be about, and we've already linked to that about page. So if you see over in my navigator here, I've now got a link to the about page. Now I can change the content on my about page. So I'm going to go down here to where my kind of content area is, change the heading to about. I'm going to get rid of that shop button, and I might even add an image in here. It's probably something I should have done a little bit earlier, but I do have a local image, and I'm going to pop that into my site folder in a folder called images. Oops. So now I'm adding to that site. So let me add in an image. Do that, kind of exactly the same way that we do in CodePen. Source equals to, and then in brackets, and you can see it's looking inside my folder. It sort of knows where I might be keeping my images. I'm going to navigate to the images folder. I'm going to select that burger image, and then I'm going to file save all. And then if I open up about to my browser, I've got that new about page with that image that I've pasted in there. And now, because I had earlier set up all of those images, set up all of those links, if I go click on the home button, it'll take me back to the home page. And then if I go to the about page, it'll take me to the about page as well. So you can see that linkage, or setting up those file names earlier on has helped us with those linkage relationships. Let me make another page. I'll just close down all of these and duplicate the index page again, and maybe I'll make this our shop page. And we do need a browser open. Pop the shop in there. So currently it looks like the index page, but we'll make sure we go to the right file. And we'll change up the heading. We might delete this content because we're going to put our shop in there. And I'll save all this. Refresh the page so you can see we've just got that heading, no content. So let's add in our shop. And if I go to maybe our Canvas page, wrong one. And under our shop, I had an example here. I'm going to grab the script that service has given me from my account and go back over to my shop here, paste that into the page. Oops, save all. So when I hit save all, it saves all of these files. So if I've been working on multiple, it will save them all. And then over in my shop page, I'll just refresh and you can see that it's added in my shop, which is pretty handy. So now we've got pretty much a website ready to go. All we need to do is add in our privacy page and our contact page, and I think there might be a frequently asked questions page, and I'm good to go. And everything's kind of synced up and yeah, all linked. So if I go to my shop, go back to my index page, go to my About Us, and then back to my home page. And there you have it. That's pretty much our complete project, ready, or quite close to being ready to submit. And we've ended up with a folder like this with all of our separate HTML files linked to the single CSS file. And just one last thing, if I did want to make a global change to my website, like I wanted to make my headings bigger, I'll just go to my CSS file and come in here and change my heading size, save all. And when I look at any page of my site, you'll see that that heading style has changed, and even on the front page. So that's the versatility of having that single CSS page for your entire website. Well, there you go. That's what I wanted to talk through and walk you through a demonstration of compiling your website from CodePen all the way through to a finished site or a finished collection of HTML files. And then to submit, I'd pretty much be just zipping this up, once you've done your other files as well, and you're happy with it, and I'll be submitting that with my research and development documentation, and I'm good to go. So how do we feel about that? Oh, we've got to find the text thread. All right, well, I hope that was useful. Thought I might have had a few questions along the way, but hopefully it was useful and kind of will show you those next steps, and hopefully it kind of points out that final step, or fleshing out the rest of your pages, isn't as daunting as could be. It's actually pretty easy. The harder bit is finalising and tying off that first page and getting that first template kind of nice and tight and ready to go. All right. Well, I'll let you go. I'll go back to the Teams channel, and I know there's a couple of you here that had some questions earlier on that I didn't quite finish off. So give me another text, and I'll work out your specific problems, and hopefully we can work towards tidying off that first page. You know, in the near future, so that you can start fleshing out the rest of those pages. Anyway, good to see you all. Maybe I'll sign off now. Thanks for joining me.